Welcome to the Lookout Cookout, celebrating the history, heritage, people, and places of the Cape Lookout area of North Carolina.
This episode of the Lookout Cookout is brought to you in part by Zion Consulting, offering services in graphic and website design, software development, and business consulting. Want to take your business to that next step? Visit zioncg.com and let Zion Consulting go that extra mile for you. That's zioncg.com. Welcome back, everybody. This is Levi with the Lookout Cookout.
That's my own little personal intro music.
And that's Opie coming out on the set of
Hey, gang.
1974's Family Feud.
Oh, those are such good times.
Those were, who was that? Richard Dawson? Was that?
Good call. That sounds right. We'll go with the winner on that one.
That's what they had to do. No digital, nothing. Had the board that turned.
There's a gentleman behind the screen just turning the crank so the numbers or answers would roll over.
And Vanna White was still turning letters on the wheel and looked exactly the same as she does now.
I know.
I think she's like 60 something. She looks great.
I almost said Price is Right money. That's the wrong game show.
Bob Barker's spending that Price is Right money. Opie, how are you?
I'm doing well, obviously. I don't think there's any denying it today.
Pretty good. We're actually recording on a different day than normal. Normally we shoot for Friday afternoons. This is when we do the quote-unquote in-studio stuff because that's our normal loopiest time.
Yeah, it usually works out the best, well, mentally, for the listeners anyways.
Yeah, that's
for us to record on Fridays. We're kind of towards the end of our week and a certain frame of mind. But yeah. Switch it up. We can do it when we can. That's what we do.
A little bit more loose usually, but we decided it was why not? We'll go ahead and do it now. But this episode, these next couple episodes are special in that we've got another two-parter coming for everybody. We're just coming off of the two-parter Everest yacht episodes. Those would have been the last episodes that came out. Now we are talking to a gentleman, local business owner. I don't know how local it'll be for now because he's slowly expanding his brand over the globe.
So quick, so fast.
But we're talking to Mr. Clarke Merrell, who, quick timeline, about 5 years ago opened up Circa 81, which is a tapas and cocktail restaurant.
Probably associated with, certainly.
That's in Morehead City. Then a few years after that, he opened the Twisted Spoon, which is a frozen yogurt shop in Morehead as well, further down the road. Then I think the next year opened the first location of the Beaufort Olive Oil Company on Front Street in Beaufort. Then that expanded over the course of a couple years into 4 locations now, right?
Recently, as of our recording, is on 4. Location number 4.
Yeah, which
depending on when this airs, he may actually get another one.
May have 5 or 6 or 7. I think they're in Beaufort, Morehead City, Emerald Isle, and Swansboro. I believe that's.
I think Emerald Isle being their newest one, but we'll cover a lot of that when we talk.
And then his latest venture, which was last year, as of the time of this episode going out, roughly a year ago, May of 2014.
Probably almost to the day if we had to narrow it down.
Is his newest venture, the food truck Dank Burrito, which
the Circa 81 project.
Exactly.
The local food truck for those unfamiliar.
Yeah.
If you still haven't heard at this point.
If you would know if you've seen it because it's a very bright,
there's no hiding. I love that truck. Yeah.
Urban kind of graffiti meets like paintball match look to it. But it's great. And that's the newest venture, and that might actually be, because it being the nature of a food truck and it goes around wherever it wants, that might be kind of what's gotten him the widest audience, so to speak. In
our listening area anyways, it's probably the easiest associated, just the sense with it. They've won the Rookie of the Year this past year with the Rookie food truck.
Right.
And like you were mentioning, just the fact that it's mobile. You've probably seen it around town or passed it at some point or another in your ventures around the Carteret County area.
Yeah, and they go out. I mean, he mentions it in the interview, but I don't think they've gone out to Jacksonville or New Bern, aside from maybe for special events. But I mean, I know they go up to Raleigh pretty regularly. They're
predominantly in our area for obvious reasons. But it's kind of funny. Everybody knows probably at this point, if you've listened to a few episodes or not, that I've recently moved back to the area. And I had no idea in Raleigh, where I was living at, it's like every month, every other month or so
it's more than once a year.
Yeah, they do it a few times a year. I forget exactly how often they did it, but I saw this food truck at their annual, or their, again, whenever they schedule it, the food truck rodeo in downtown Raleigh. And I saw this truck and I was like, man, that's a pretty neat looking truck. And I got something from them and it was like, okay. I had no idea in that whole venture that, with all these trucks around the event, that that truck was from my hometown, essentially.
The one you happened to go to.
It was great to come home and then, later find out that, hey, I've still got delicious food truck options right here at home. So.
Absolutely. And then if you are looking for something a little bit, higher end, not necessarily, because I think the high end style of Circa 81 definitely shows through in the Dank Burrito stuff, but if you're looking for more of a sit down traditional thing, you got Circa 81 right around the corner. It gives
Clarke and the guys a little different way to spread their wings, so to speak. So.
Yeah, definitely. But so we sat down with him. Obviously, I think we probably, and before we even started this, we thought about the idea like we could do one episode for each business that he has.
Yeah, the whole concern was how do we do this?
Yeah. How do we break this down?
Clarke has his finger in so many different avenues. It's like you could do an episode for each business, essentially.
And then really, we, as of the time of us recording this, we don't even know what we're going to call the episode that we're putting out, because we may just call it the Clarke Merrell podcast, and this Lookout Cookout is just going to turn into the Clarke Merrell show, and we just have him
for at least the next episode or two. This is the Clarke Merrell show for sure.
But so obviously, because he's got so much going on, we decided we'd switch it up and just kind of, instead of trying to focus on one particular thing, we just kind of let the conversation flow. Would you agree that we didn't
definitely.
we have our script that we usually have for guidance,
show notes that we kind of go by as mostly far as things we want to cover.
Yeah, stuff we want to cover, not so much a script. But we really just kind of bounced around. Like, so we talked about his education as far as culinary education. We talked about his early business ventures. We talked about him growing up in the area, all of his local dealings with various farmers and seafood suppliers and things like that. And it just kind of bounced around, and before you knew it, we were talking for 2 hours.
It probably could have easily gone on much longer than that. But, it gives us an opportunity to possibly have him on for future episodes after this little two-parter that we've got lined up. But I really can't say it enough. As you guys will listen later in this episode, as we get to know him and get to know his story, he's just a cool cat that has a pretty artistic mind with the things that he does, and that shows out through all these different ventures that he has.
But that's a good way to put it. He does act more like an artist than a businessman, and that may sound like an insult, but it's certainly not meant to be.
No, it's definitely working out for him. Yeah, it's not like these are just like fledgling, seat of their pants holding on by a string type of businesses. They're all doing pretty well, thriving.
Yeah, I think, and he mentions it too. Like, he is very quick to point out the good team that he has, behind him and with him, and he's quick to point out all of those people that really help
run the
basically, I think he mentions that he basically just kind of barrels full steam ahead and with a raw idea, and then his team is just kind of behind.
It's up to them to try and catch the pieces and put the puzzle together. That's a great analogy and a way to put it.
Yeah, but he was just really interesting and really not what I expected at all. I expected a different kind of person based on what I knew about him already, based on the business and stuff. Right. But I wouldn't call him a laid back guy, but he's definitely,
to have that much going on and to be that laid back about it, I was thoroughly impressed.
He was more laid back than I was expecting, I think. And so, but he was a super interesting dude, and obviously because we had so much to talk about, we just kind of bounce around topics. He's very animated when he talks, so if you happen to notice him tapping the table or anything like that, it's for emphasis.
It made me feel a lot better, because I usually feel like the loose cannon of the bunch, so I feel like we got along very well in those circumstances.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well, but definitely guys, stay tuned for this. Like I said, the interview itself is about 2 hours, so we're going to just cut it in half somewhere where it makes sense to cut it, and then we'll be doing a two-parter, so it'll be this week's episode and next week's episodes will be parts 1 and 2, and it shouldn't extend past that, I wouldn't think, unless we have them on again, but which is totally
that'll
possible.
Be a whole nother day, a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but guys, just stick with us through the break here. When we come back, we're gonna cook up something. We got a little
intimidating having Clarke on the episode, so we're gonna try and do our take on the inspiration he's providing. Stick around, guys. Today's episode of Lookout Cookout is brought to you in part by Lookout Adventures. If you're looking for a less crowded fishing excursion, or you want to hop from one of the necks to the Outer Banks' beautiful Barrier Islands, stay on the boat for a personalized dolphin watch. Or maybe you just want to book a private sunset cruise for you and that special someone. Let Lookout Adventures be your guide. With many full and half-day options to choose from, there's an adventure waiting for everyone. For pricing, gift certificates, and more information, visit lookoutadventures.com. All right, gang, welcome on back. Appreciate you coming on down to the old Lookout Cookout Kitchen.
Reminds me, what was that guy's name? The Cajun guy, the Cajun like cook. He was on like public access TV around here. Like, and I've talked to people, and it wasn't just in North Carolina. I think people in like Virginia.
I like the older man, like the suspenders. I think he had a bow tie.
The I guarantee guy.
I guarantee. I can't remember his name.
And he
either.
always like whatever he made. He always had, like. He had a little table next to his cooking area, and he always made a bowl of whatever it is he was eating and poured himself like a giant glass of red wine. And that was like the end of every episode.
You know, whoever's listening to this episode and knows it off the top of your head, tweet us the answer. Whoever, we'll have to look it up later. I know who you're talking about, though.
I'm gonna have to do some like investigative googling.
I guarantee. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, sidetrack. We were talking about earlier before we started recording. The kind of intimidation factor of trying to do a cooking segment on an episode with a chef.
Yeah, which we've ran into this kind of before, where you know we had Happy Cakes,
right?
You know that episode comes to mind, and the intimidation factor, except for you can't really grill cupcakes.
Yeah. So
at the same time that it was a little intimidating, it was easier for us to kind of find a way around it because
there was no crossover.
There's no crossover. So there wasn't really much to compare it to, as we're pretty self-aware and we don't really hide the fact that we're not some kind of culinary geniuses.
Yeah.
I can barely say the word culinary.
Definitely can't spell it.
I can't spell it. Not even going to attempt that one. Do the whole show right there. But yeah, with this particular episode, having Clarke on, and he's the mind behind these food-minded businesses, restaurants and things. How intimidating it would be us doing this segment. So we kind of, doing my research and looking up things, and we kind of settled on the inspiration behind this. For those that don't know or maybe aren't as familiar ahead of time, with Clarke and the Dank Burrito truck that we mentioned earlier, they're the Rookie of the Year, reigning Rookie of the Years.
Yeah, as of the 2014 winner.
You got it. They haven't announced 2015 yet, obviously.
Yeah, probably won't be for a while.
Yeah, that contest put together by mobilecuisine.com. You can check out their website. So they're just checking out and doing some research. The previous year's winner, a little food truck, I think it was out of Miami, Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Saucy Stash food truck. Essentially, they were the previous year's winners, Rookie of the Year winners, with mobilecuisine.com's contest. And the nuts and bolts of their shtick, I guess, with their truck is you pick a meat, you pick a side, and then they have like 15 or more of these like delicacy sauces to choose from, just
various world origins and things like that.
And I'm sure they're probably fantabulous because I'm a condiment guy anyways. So
I am too.
Having that many to choose from, as far as the food itself, I'm sure is probably delicious as well. But that's kind of their shtick, is the sauce. So I guess what we kind of agreed on to ease into it without getting embarrassed too much, having Clarke on this episode, is we'd do a sauce.
Yeah. That sounded good to me. And like you said, we because this is going to be a two-parter, we get a little bit more bold with our recipe that we have planned for part two.
We'll try something a little braver on the next one, but let's take it easy so Clarke doesn't hurt our feelings too bad.
Yeah. So our idea is we can do a sauce, and you can't grill this sauce. I mean, you could try, I guess, if you wanted.
The great thing about the sauce is you could use it
on anything you grill.
Really anything you grill, and you can do it either as you grill it, right at the end of grilling it, maybe put it as a side after you've done grilling it. So
and the website, and obviously we'll have all these links on the episode page on our site, lookoutcookout.com. The recipe, it calls it a quote Carolina style barbecue sauce, which is a bit of point of contention because it calls I
can see the hate mail right now.
It calls it that because it has vinegar and mustard based. Obviously, if you're from this area, you're from North Carolina or South Carolina for that matter, or Texas, your idea of barbecue sauce or sauce in general or barbecue is very specific to your region. In Eastern North Carolina, we use a primarily vinegar-based sauce. Lovely establishments such as Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue use that, and it's delicious.
Roland's Barbecue in Beaufort. We'll keep it local as well.
They use things like that. I think South Carolina, they use like a mustard-based sauce, and I believe Western North Carolina, like Lexington way, they use a ketchup molasses, more like a thicker. If you bought barbecue sauce in the grocery store, like that style.
Typically, the thicker molasses based sauces.
This is kind of like a hybrid between the Eastern North Carolina and South Carolina styles. And it's actually, anyone hasn't tried South Carolina like mustard-based barbecue, it's delicious. It's all good. We were talking about this.
We've discussed this before. Everybody claims that their sauce and their barbecue is the best because it's this or it's that. And when it comes to, I guess me and you, I feel like I could speak for you at this point.
Sure.
In this regard, is that if it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
That's the thing is, like, the problem is with food snobs and like foodies and things, and really not even foodies, but just like food is a very local thing and it's very close to people's heart. But just because something is really good doesn't make other things bad. Does that make sense?
I completely agree. If your mama's biscuits or grandmama's biscuits are always going to be the best in the world ever of all time.
That doesn't make Bojangles bad.
Exactly. I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like beef brisket out in Texas, delicious. Pulled pork, still delicious. Well, yeah, so this is kind of like a hybrid sauce, and we'll put the link up. But basically, I'll run through the list real quick of what's in it. You've got yellow mustard, sugar, light brown sugar, cider vinegar, water, chili powder, black pepper, white pepper, cayenne, soy sauce, butter, and liquid smoke. And essentially you combine all of that together minus, I believe, the soy sauce, butter, and liquid smoke. Combine it all in a saucepan, let it simmer, 30 minutes, and then stir in the rest, the soy sauce, butter, and liquid smoke, let it simmer for another 10 minutes, and then you have a delicious sauce that you can put on anything, put it in a squeeze bottle, drink it, whatever.
I have an empty Gatorade bottle. I'm just going to mix all this up in and bring to work and sip on throughout the day.
But I agree with you. I think you mentioned earlier you're a condiments guy, and I'm kind of the same way. Like so many times, like if I'm eating a burger, my burger is plain, patty on a bun, slice of cheese, and then like ketchup, mustard, sriracha, like just kind of throw different stuff. Like I don't bother with tomato, lettuce. Most I'll bother with aside from that is like grilled onions, that kind of thing.
I noticed with a lot of the segments we've done, or just talking in general off air. That you mentioned that you're a purist, and I kind of agree with you. When I'm actually cooking, I don't like to add a ton of extra. I'll throw a couple different flavors here and there from time to time. But more or less when I'm cooking, I like to just have the natural, whatever it is I'm grilling.
Yeah.
And then like maybe a little salt and pepper.
Yeah, I usually do salt and pepper pretty much anything I'm cooking. But it's exactly like seasoning has its place, and there are certain recipes that call for it that it is appropriate. But yeah, if I'm cooking a cut of meat of some sort or veggies or whatever, it just to me personally, I like the taste of whatever it is I'm cooking.
I'm the same way. I like the taste of the meat cut that I happen to be cooking, and then if I want something like on the side or just kind of sprinkled on top after it's done, it's on my plate, then I can do that as I wish.
Absolutely.
And it kind of keeps the rest of the family, at least in my house, they don't have to indulge in my taste if they don't particularly care for it as much as I do, and vice versa.
Well, and for me, it comes from the fact that I grew up in a big family, not immediate family, but tons of cousins and aunts and uncles and things. And so when you're cooking for that many people, if you're cooking for more than, say, 5 or 6 people, you have a lot of people you want to try and make happy. So for me, like growing up, it was always the burgers get cooked. You get a plain burger on a bun, and then the cheese, the condiments, the toppings, everything.
That's all on the table.
It's laid out.
Make it how you want. Yeah, I completely understand.
I even have some family members who go as far as to, obviously, sweet tea. We're in the South. Sweet tea's where it's at. They'll go so far as to, some people drink unsweet tea either because they prefer it, and those people are crazy, or they have, diabetics and things like that. Yeah. So I have some family who they'll make like pitchers of unsweet tea and then put bottles or like squeeze bottles or what do you call them? Little pitchers of simple syrup on the table so people can mix it in, but obviously, it's hard to mix sugar into a cold drink. So if the simple syrup, it's already dissolved. So just mix it in.
Smart little way of going
Make it as sweet or unsweet as you want. Yeah. And I think that's kind of.
I think the 5-year-old me would take more of it. I would have more simple syrup than I would tea.
Open the simple syrup top, pour tea into it, and then
3 drops of tea.
But I think it's the same kind of mentality of you're trying to please a ton of people, and so you just kind of here's the base ingredients, and then just kind of do what you want from there.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I want to mention with the sauce that you're cooking up in particular is People forget too, if you're gonna make the sauce and add anything like extra, after you've already plated anything, make sure you got 2 batches or you keep them separate. You don't want to be like, say if you're braising it on as you're grilling,
chicken
you don't want to use that same dish that you've got the sauce that you brushed it on the grill.
Yeah,
and then take it to the table. So make sure you keep the batches separate.
Yeah, I think condiments and any kind of toppings like that you use when you're cooking, and utensils like brushes and tongs and stuff. People don't really think about that from a cross contamination standpoint, but it's
by the time you realize it, you've probably just finished your meal and be like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't the best idea. So keep that in mind. Keep them separate, guys. As always, put your own spin on it. We'll have the links and everything on the website as usual if you want to kind of follow along with what we based our example off of. And otherwise, always phone in, let us know how it worked out for you. Let us know if your spin turned out a little better than ours sounded. But we appreciate suggestions all the time. As always, I think we'll just probably move it along at this point.
Yeah, we'll call it done.
Might as well.
I mean, that's the thing. We can ramble for forever in a day. So, I think take the sauce, put it on your hot dogs or anything. Really, barbecue sauce is good on anything. But, so we're going to throw it to a break real quick. When we get back, we're going to be back with the beginning, part 1 of our interview with Mr. Clarke Merrell. This episode of the Lookout Cookout is brought to you in part by IslandTraders.com, your source for the highest quality name brands in casual fashion. And not only does Island Traders have amazing retail stores in both Beaufort and Atlantic Beach, but they now also have a super clean and modern online shop that will blow you away. Shop online to take advantage of web-only specials, a huge selection, and even free shipping with orders of $100 or more. You can't always make it to the beach to shop at Island Traders, but you can always hit the website for some top quality retail therapy, island style. So stop by IslandTraders.com and get some great stuff for you and your family. Island Traders, because island time is a state of mind.
So stemming from our own pride for the local Outer Banks scene, we're always looking for folks with a cool story to tell. Whether it's a local business owner, or a local celebrity, just a neighborhood storyteller, we're always looking for somebody interesting and try and get their word out about what they've got going on. So, of course, that's going to focus on our local area. So who better than somebody that we've discussed a little bit before we started recording with all the things that he's got going on. He's got a lot to talk about, I'm sure, is Mr. Clarke Merrell. He's the owner and executive chef of Morehead City's Circa 81, not to mention the owner of Twisted Spoon Frozen Yogurt Bar. We've got, I believe, as of recording, 4 locations of the Beaufort Olive Oil Company, as well as, I guess, the newest endeavor would be the Dank Burrito food truck.
That's correct.
And the timeline of things you've got going on. Appreciate you taking the time out for us. If you want, you can go ahead and back out now and take like a nap or some rest. If you want to take this extra time, we won't tell anybody. Do you get any rest with everything that you've got going on? I mean, it's...
Yeah, we sleep from about 1 a.m. till about 7:30 a.m.
That's good, right? That varies.
That's not too bad.
That's right. We work a lot from hour to hour on the other side of that. So
I imagine. Now, I know a little bit about you from just doing my research and stuff. You're married. Have you got any kids or anything yet?
Yeah, married to my wife Liza, and we have a little boy, Noah. He is 4. And we have a little girl. Her name is Marna. She's named after my grandmother. She will be 2 in August. So.
Wow. So 2 young kids.
Yeah, they're little. It's fun. So we're balancing multiple businesses, balancing being a dad. And
so I'm going to assume that sleep schedule you just told me about is probably way shorter.
Yeah, it shortens every now and then. Yeah, this past weekend actually I got to go fishing twice, Saturday and Sunday. Got to bed on Friday night about 3 in the morning. I saw 3:20 on the clock. Up at 6:30.
Yeah. To
go try to catch some cobia. Came back in. Did Saturday night. Went to bed Saturday. Got to bed. Got my schedules out about 1:30, 2 a.m. And back up at. We met at the boat at 5 o'clock. Sunday morning to go offshore Sunday. So that's, we...
Did you catch a nap on the way out, maybe?
Actually, I caught a little nap out on the water, but that was about it.
Hope you guys did good, too.
Yeah, we had a good catch.
I was going to say, if you come home with an empty cooler, then it makes all that not quite as fun.
You got to swing by the seafood house if that's the case.
Yeah.
You got to fake it. You
got to fake it. As long as everybody gets home and you tell them the story.
Right.
Now, going on to with all that and talking about fishing and stuff, that has a lot to do with the area. Growing up in this area, I wouldn't naturally assume somebody would just fall into a chef's role necessarily. How did you get into interested in being a chef?
So I get asked that often. My little joke is that it picked me. Right. I didn't pick it. My family owned a restaurant in Atlantic Beach, growing up as a child, even through. So a lot of people may remember DJ Shooter's restaurant. My family purchased that in the late 80s and operated it until 96, and we had a tragic fire that totally wiped out the whole entire structure. So we kind of had to start over at that point. A lot of people remember the fire. And it took about 4 years to get everything back together to get the building put back up. So we reopened August of 2000. So basically my whole high school
I was going to say, we're not too far away in ages.
No,
you would have been fairly young at that point.
Yeah, so I was in 8th grade when it burned down, and then we reopened right after I graduated high school. And that was in 2000. And, I just kind of worked in the restaurant. That was what I did. Even up until it burned down, I was up there helping out a lot. And then when it burnt down, and like I said, I was in 8th grade, and then I got my driver's license, and I was working in other restaurants as well. There's a couple little spots in Monroe. I worked at CD's, which is a 50 Styles burger joint, and I worked at Burt Surf Shop like every other kid does.
Yeah. But, ditto.
Yeah, right. So I just cooked, and that's what I did. And then of course, we rebuilt right after I graduated. So I was helping my father just cook. That's what we did. And he wasn't classically trained in anything. He just kind of had picked it up, and that's just what he had done. And, our restaurant was kind of a family-focused restaurant with really good food, steak and seafood. We did all the fried stuff that everybody comes down here to eat. And then we had, our house specialties as well. So I graduated high school, and I didn't move away. I was going to the community college program, and I was doing that for a while, getting the Pell Grant that everybody gets.
Yeah.
Buying speakers for your car, surfboards, that kind of stuff. I realized that it just wasn't doing it for me, and when I guess it was 2003, I was like 21. I had been in the kitchen, in and out of the kitchen forever, and so I went to culinary school down in West Palm Beach. I moved to West Palm Beach, and I was down there for about 20 months. Because they do quarters down there, so it's not semesters.
Okay.
So it's like 6 quarters makes up the whole entire program.
Right.
So I went and got my associate's degree down there in culinary arts, and then I had to move back.
Admittedly, I don't know anything. I can barely, cook a thing of ramen or something at home. The kids don't look forward to the night that Daddy has to cook at my house.
Yeah.
But it was Florida, like the location, a big part of why you picked that, maybe?
No, that's a funny story in its own, man. I'll tell you. So in Atlantic Beach, the Food Lion used to be across the street where the town park is now.
Right.
And this was a very vivid memory. I was sent to Food Lion by my dad to pick up something random that we needed at the restaurant. And I was standing in line checking out, and they have candy and magazines and crossword puzzles and just all that stuff they have in the checkout line. And there was this little pamphlet magazine, and it was like Summer's Freshest Recipes or something like that. So I grabbed it, and I was just like thumbing through it. And I was looking, and then I flipped it over. I don't know, just flipped it over. And on the back was an ad for the culinary school.
Oh, wow.
So I just kind of remembered that web address, and I went home and started researching. And you got to remember, for me, like, the early 2000s, like, I had just got my first email account. Like, I didn't know what
the internet was still becoming a thing at that point.
Especially in Carteret County.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, we were still on dial-up. It sucked. But so I just went, and I didn't know about Google. I didn't really know what a search engine was, but I went and looked it up, and I got all the information, and I sent them all of my paperwork, filled out application, etc. And I got accepted. I was so excited, but I later learned that they accept everybody. It's more of a business than an actual, school.
But not everybody graduates, I imagine.
Not everybody graduates. A lot of people start, not a lot of people finish. But so I set up a time to go down there and tour the school, and I liked it. And the way that they kind of suck the students is they have a very impressive showcase in the front lobbies and all the hallways, and you're like, man, this is really cool. And I mean, really, that is how I picked it. You know what I mean? Like, there's Johnson & Wales, and you got the CIA up in New York, and all of the art institutes and all that. But it was just kind of the first thing. I applied. I set up a visit. I liked it. Florida was warm.
Right.
It was nice. You know what I mean? And
to have to spend a bunch of extra money getting winter clothes and
right. So I mean, that was kind of what took me down there. I mean, there was no really rhyme or reason. It just was dumb luck, I guess. I don't know. So I graduated in 2005 and moved back up here, and I was helping my father at the restaurant, and that's kind of how I got started in the restaurant. I just had worked in it, from a busboy capacity to a dishwasher. I did start cooking when I was like, 12ish, 13ish, just helping, getting in the way more than helping. But that's how it started. You get a lot of folks that they do their teenage whatever years, and then they end up in the kitchen washing dishes, and they have this like defining moment of when they wanted to be a chef or learn more about it. Like, I was never struck like that. It was just kind of, I'm washing dishes and making money, and I think like every teenager's washing dishes making money kind of thing. I really didn't think of it from a standpoint of anything else. So that's just kind of, that's how I got started, man. And then culinary school, and then you start developing your own ideas and your own thoughts, and culinary school really gives you a foundation, like a skill set to build on. I think there's a lot of misconception. A lot of people think that you go to school and now you are a chef. That's like the furthest from the truth that's ever been.
Education is out there.
So what you now have is the ability to go make $9 an hour. You just spent $50,000 on education, and now you work starting off at $9 an hour, or $10 an hour in the kitchen, to be a peon for somebody to build from there. And it really breaks a lot of people. Like they don't want to wait, they don't want to put in the time, they don't have the heart, the passion. So culinary school is unique. You don't have to go to school. A lot of folks kind of do it on their own, or just getting with a chef and really getting trained, but
helps give you the foundation of the skill set and the tools
and the knowledge.
Yeah, it does. So once you get through that, then you got to kind of take it on your own to continue to excel. And that's kind of what we have put to work around here. My team over at the restaurant Circa 81 is passionate about what is going on. I mean, it's just not about getting food on the plate and charging the customer. There's a lot more to it than goes into that, and that's a whole nother discussion, because really there's different ways to look at food, and a lot of people look at food from a nourishment standpoint. I gotta eat to live, and then some people don't care what they put in their bodies, and it's evident, and then you gotta have the whole necessity, you gotta eat. So you got backstories, and it's funny because I went yesterday and picked up some soft shell crabs from a small family farm down on the other side of the county, and I told her yesterday, because I got a buddy, Josh Robinson with Triwork Studios. He does videography. He is really good at it, really, really talented, and he's done a bunch of work for me. But I told this lady, she's the fisherman's wife, and she's down there helping him every day. But I said, next year during the big shed, the 1st of May into April, I said, I want to bring him down here, and I want to document this, because there's a story that goes with it. How many people go and eat a soft shell crab sandwich and have no idea?
They don't think twice about where it came from, or how they got it,
how it came to be. The soft shell crab, once it sheds its shell, you only have a few hours before it becomes hard again. So you got to literally babysit these tanks and pluck these crabs out of this water to stop the process. And her and her husband, they get up around the clock for 10 days. It's this big shed season. Every 4 hours they're getting up, switching shifts, to make sure, they got about 24 or 30 tanks.
They screwed it up. That's a big part of their livelihood.
Yeah, I mean, that's, they're making their money 10 days a year, so, you're eating this crab, but you just really don't know what went into it. And it's the same for the commercial fishermen or the farmers, and that's, you hear the term farm to table a lot, but, I feel like there's this whole other side of food that, just people don't really understand, or they don't care about, and why things are growing the way they are, or why, wheat has been, genetically modified to grow more per acre than it is naturally, or, sesame seeds, they figure they can get oils out of these seeds, and now they've been, modified to produce more oil than actually the beneficial food part of it. So there's just a lot that goes into it, It just kind of depends on what angle you're looking at.
With seafood, it reminds me of something I'll never forget. It's a very vivid story that I have from as a kid. My mom sitting in the kitchen, cleaning shrimp, and getting them ready for dinner that night.
Yeah.
And she meant it specifically with the shrimp at the time, but it really seafood in general and a lot of other foods with the way you were talking about everything's modified these days is but seafood she always said was a labor of love.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to get to something so delicious, and
it does.
like as long as I've grown up here, I didn't know the strict window. With soft shell crabs, like I didn't know that, and I've grown up here my whole life. So I mean, it's interesting to hear how somebody's mind works about that, but then to have the knowledge and educate myself as well as everybody else.
Well, because it's one of those things too that if you're not a chef and you don't own a restaurant, you can be involved in that knowledge and process as little or as much as you want. Like you can know all of that if you want, but you could also go your entire life and never know that at all. and just eat.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect anybody's daily life, but these small families of fishermen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just really neat, because, I mean, look, you got the Garners up there at Garner Farm, like they work day in and day out to keep their farm producing, and the Merrell Farm and Quinn Farms, a lot of these guys around here, there's just a lot of work to produce what someone just will grab and quickly throw in the trash because they didn't eat it all, or and it's and just with the grocery store, things are so accessible that people don't even really think about food. The way that, I mean, this is how we exist. You know what I mean? Take away food, and what's going to happen? Or modify it to the point where everyone's getting cancer from everything because they're growing chickens with 3 breasts and
8 legs.
8 legs, and, 4 wings because. Buffalo Wild Wings is making is making tons of money off of these chicken wings. So they need more cheaper. So they're like creating these like crazy looking chickens just to do that, and it's just weird. So I mean, there's some validity to like the food movement and like what people are putting on their bodies because you got to process that, and that's what makes us function. And I'll tell you, man, I cheat all the time. I love Bojangles. You know what I mean?
That's a staple of the South. You know what I mean?
Like so we're out. We caught a bunch of mahi on Sunday when we went out. Bring it to the restaurant, and I'm cleaning it down, and I call my mom, and she comes and grabs a bunch, and my grandma, and then people want me to say I put it on feature, but I can't say that, so we don't. But anyway, fresh fish. I mean, it's just it's just pure. You know what I mean? We just got it out of the deep blue sea. They're swimming in 300, 400, 500 feet of water. I mean, it's just pure clean eating. That's what's fun. But then you get some people that just don't care. You know what I mean? They want a L's Red hot dog. That's it. And it's good.
No, that's a bad thing. But
No, but I mean, it's just. I was talking to a guy last night. My uncle owns Riptide's little bar right here in town. He's got a couple of restaurants too, and it was this guy's name's Rick. He was helping me when I first opened up Circa, and. He's 66 years old. He's a carpenter. He's in really good shape for a 66-year-old. I mean, muscular, his physique, and he was just telling me he had a triple bypass, and his heart was only working this much, and he was just like on this really restricted diet of just like no sodium and oils and fats, and it was just I was just talking to him last night about it, and it was just like crazy because you don't think about what you eat. He was telling me just how much sodium's in Doritos, and it's kind of like. I know brainer, you should know that, but you don't think about it when you grab a bag.
Right. And think you need a quick snack on the go. You just grab a bag of Doritos.
You know what I mean? We had a bag of Doritos when we were fishing on Sunday. You know what I mean? It's like all that sodium, and he's like pre-diabetic, and it's like doctors telling him he's got like a year to live, like kind of thing. You're like, man, like.
You don't think about this kind of things when you pick up a bag of Doritos. It's all stemmed
of what we're doing to ourselves through our diet.
Do you think that's a generational thing too? Because like you mentioned, the farm-to-table movement is kind of a thing right now. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think it's just the fact that people are starting to get educated and realize what some of these things they've been putting their bodies have done?
The farm-to-table movement is an interesting terminology because it's really kind of been like highlighted and you see it used a lot, but it's the way that it should be anyway. So when someone says I'm a farm-to-table restaurant, okay, cool, like you're saying that, but
it really shouldn't be a thing anyway.
Like, it should just be an automatic farm-to-table restaurant anyway. Like it's, you know what I mean?
You shouldn't have to advertise it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to advertise it, really. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I think people are becoming a little more aware of what they eat. I've read some things in some different news articles that some of these bigger chains that have really kind of gotten McDonald's and such are really kind of feeling.
There's a lot of pressure on them, as we'll say a few years ago, 10 years ago.
Well, pressure to change, but I'm talking about pressure like they're not hitting their numbers. Like people are becoming more aware, and I've read some things where a few McDonald's here and there are maybe shutting their doors, stuff like that. Just people aren't supporting them like they used to.
Yeah, before they weren't hitting their numbers because the cost of their product was too much versus what they were selling. Now the cost of the product's down, but people don't want that product, and so they are starting to lose sales.
And you got a segment now. McDonald's, Wendy's, all these guys, fast food. It's kind of what they've been labeled, and now you have, they call it quick service. So you look at Dank Burrito, for instance, you know what I mean? Like, we're making all that food fresh. Dank Burrito is just so fresh. You know what I mean? We jug fresh to death. It's like on all of our stuff. I mean, like, we rotate. We go through so much volume. I mean, we're making things constantly.
It's not just a catchphrase. You guys are like living and breathing.
I mean, like, it's nice because we have like 12 things that we make, and we just make it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Circa, I have 65 menu items. Circa is like super fresh, but we got to work really hard to maintain that because there's so many things. We have like 60 menu items, and each one has multiple components.
Yeah.
The burrito, like we have like 6 protein, or 5 protein, 6 protein, 7, whatever we're doing, and then like all the slaws or toppings or sides, that go with it, and that's it. So we'll make. Like a 5-gallon bucket of like pico. We're making that like 3 times a week.
Yeah, wow. And you're burning through it so much.
Yeah, we're burning through it. We're going through so much. Man, I can't. It's blowing my mind. For somebody else, it's of course.
Are we forcing you to sit here and think about stuff that happens
just like where we started with the burrito truck, and then to like where it's coming now, just in a year, has just been incredible. It's like crazy, but.
I mentioned I definitely want to talk to you about Dank Burrito. I'm gonna make everybody wait a little bit on that one though, because it's a little story that that's kind of how I got introduced to you before I even moved back home. Seeing the Dank Burrito truck at the food radio in Raleigh and stuff. Let's backtrack a little though with everything you've talked about. I think I kind of have an understanding.
I guess my point is, like with Circa, so I got myself and my sous chef Josh, and my other guys, like we're really just trying to teach these guys like to be aware of like what we're using, where the product's coming from, and we really enjoy what we do, and hopefully it shows the folks that come into the restaurant. I mean, Chipotle says it. Their little slogan is "Food with Integrity." You know what I mean? And that's like, if something's not right at the restaurant, like we want to fix it. Like we want to, like I'm gonna catch it before my guests catch it. Like that's you got to, And some restaurants they just don't really care. There's some restaurants in the area where the owner operator may call themselves a chef, maybe a chef, but they operate the restaurant as a business, as they should, and it is a business. But that's it. There's no.
They're still ordering from outside,
there's no other kind of passion involved. Like it is a business, It's straight to the cash register. Whether they piss people off or they're selling something that might be a little suspect, or you know what I mean. It's just a true business, and they just don't see it any other.
It's getting the food on the plate, get the plate out to the customer, get the customer out, so you can put another customer in that seat. Yeah, exactly.
And from what I do, you got to run a business, and it's got to be profitable, and you got to make money because that's why you run a business. But at the same time, like. I ordered in from the mountains, like 25 pounds like fresh ramps. Ramps was like this wild, like garlicky onion, like hybrid that, really it shows itself at the beginning of the spring. And it just kind of signifies spring's here. Yeah. And you can get them for about 4 to 6 weeks and they're gone. Yeah. Chefs, seek them out. They got a great flavor. They're unique. If we're lucky and have enough, we'll pickle like the bulb, and we'll be able to use it all year. But there's just like a lot of things that like we look for that like kind of make us tip.
Yeah, that seems like something anybody else could easily overlook or just not consider themselves.
Some people don't care. Like I said, they just are interested in like their food cost and all that stuff, and that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is cool. We're a little more like lax on that department, which. Like I said, isn't the part of running a tight business, but like you got to enjoy what you do, and I give my guys, freedom to like be creative, and I'll bring in ingredients for them. Something that was funny was New Year's Eve, I brought in some black truffles. We were shaving on a couple of our dishes, which you don't see them a lot in this area at all. No. You know what I mean? And I was shaving them on a pasta plate for New Year's Eve. And there was one dish that came back, and everything on the plate was eaten, and the truffles were picked off to the side. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I got like a quarter pound of truffles in. They were like $500 or $600 for a quarter pound. Imagine like they were like 3 or 4 like bigger than a golf ball but smaller than a baseball, like just little knots, that we were just shaving down, and
that was the one thing that came
people were just picking them up. Yeah. I'm like, all right, you know what I mean?
It's like that's $15 worth of truffles on a plate that you just picked up. Yeah, and it kind of goes to. You don't see a restaurant. I'm assuming, was this at Circa or related to Circa?
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of restaurants like that in this area. And I think I could imagine that might have been a difficulty when you first opened of, Tapas and Cocktaileria. Like it is, the idea of it is envisioned more of like a, not uppity, but like it has a snootier kind of air about it, but when you go into Circa, I don't feel that, and I feel like maybe there is that kind of I don't know, it just seems like people might not be as accepting of it at first.
So that was interesting. Like, it's funny you said that, because at the beginning of Circa, like, I was like on the fence about taking it to like the fine dining level,
right?
Because we could easily throw white tablecloths down, put some wine glasses on the table, raise the price. I mean, the restaurant, the food, the service, everything says fine dining. It could be, but I wanted it to be kind of a neighborhood eatery where if you're hungry, you come eat kind of place. And I didn't want to like, omit anybody from that. So like, that's kind of the direction that we went with it.
Was that kind of like a meeting in the middle? Like you had a goal or a direction in mind, but you knew at the same time that you didn't want to get that
exactly.
vibe.
You know what I mean? I didn't want to be like fine dining where like, we're feeding 20 people a night. You're getting $50, $60, $70 a head, but nobody's coming through your door. I wanted to be a place that was like fun and funky and like kind of lifelike and kind of moving. You know what I mean? And that was kind of the vision for it, and a little more urban looking than just like a coastal seafood place. You see that a lot around here. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the idea for it, but and just keep the menu kind of moving. But it's funny because when I was first opening, the tapas term, like I could just tell. So I was talking to people, like I would be speaking to a guy, and he would, a conversation would come up, Circa 81, what kind of food do you have? It's a tapas restaurant or a tapas restaurant. And he would say, I'm going to be there every night. And as soon as he would say that response, he thought I said topless. Everybody thought it was a topless restaurant. And I kind of speak fast and, occasionally mumble from time to time.
Well, you got things to do.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And, like, I could always tell.
How long did that conversation go on before you realized he misheard?
No, I would know. I got to the point by their reaction, I knew what they thought I said.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they would get, like, guys would just, like, smile and they'd be like, we'll be there every day. And I'm like, he thinks I said topless.
See, I had to correct him, like, on the spot.
Exactly. And they're like, what's that? And then you got to kind of go into, like, the whole, like, kind of small.
You could probably be a little more eloquent about it, because, like, I completely understand. I've been by the restaurant and had dinner. What's the quickest, easiest layman's term way to describe a tapas restaurant?
What is it's just
just
like,
for anybody listening that doesn't know.
So just like small plates of food. Our focus is kind of big flavor, small plates. And I when I have the conversation in the restaurant with people who aren't as familiar with it, I just kind of tell them it's really a fun way to eat, especially if you're with a big group. You go out with like 4, 6, 8 of your friends, and if everybody's kind of open-minded, you just order a bunch of food, and then it just kind of comes out as it's ready. There's no like pace to it. If you go and everybody orders an entree, everybody gets an entree at once, and you start eating, which it is what it is. But the tapas style is fun, and we are really fast. I've actually had a couple complaints where it's like the food came out too fast. I'm like, all right, sorry, like we need to kind of pace it a little bit better. But we get so excited the ticket comes in, and man, we just jump on it. So our ticket times, anything over like 10 to 12 minutes is like too long. You go to some restaurants, you wait 30 minutes for a steak. Like we try to pump it out. But if you go with a group, and I typically will tell somebody, all right, somebody pick one person to kind of be the captain of the table and do all the ordering, and the food just starts coming out, and you just kind of eat until you're full. So it's kind of this weird like pseudo, not a buffet, but because it's not one price, but you just eat till you're content, and it's fun because you can take an item, and eat as much as you want. Or, you just want a little bit, you pass it down the table. And it's cool, too, like, if you want to try something new. Say we have octopus on the menu. And you've never had octopus before. Well, you don't want to commit to, like, a $25 or $30 plate of octopus on an entree type setting. So like, octopus is on the table, somebody orders it, and you try it. Well, if you like it, order more. If you don't, pass the plate down the table, somebody else will eat it. So it gives you, like, an intro into new food. But with the tapas, the small plates, you get a different protein. You can get beef, you can get pork, you can get duck, lamb, whatever.
Right.
You get a different cooking technique: grilled, fried, boiled, broiled, baked, sautéed. So you're getting a different cooking technique, and then so it's really neat because you get a lot of different complexities.
Yeah.
With all the options instead of just eating a big bowl of something. And I kind of tell people, so imagine when you were young. This happened to me a lot. My mom, I'm the oldest of 4 kids, so my mom had to cook in big batches. And you come home and see spaghetti and you just be like, damn, you know what I mean? Like that again. So it's like, but imagine getting like a big bowl of spaghetti and you're hungry. So like you start eating and it's good, and you get about halfway through and you're like, I'm over it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're looking for like the breadsticks or the garlic or a salad. Like, yeah. But imagine if you had just like a little bowl of spaghetti where you could get that craving, that fix, and then like maybe have like a little like 3 or 4 ounce piece of meat, or a little like fresh like vegetarian something. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you can eat something and enjoy it, and then get on to something else.
Instead of getting halfway through it and then be like, well, I still have to eat the other half.
Yeah. Without making a huge commitment to whatever it is.
So you're eating your spaghetti, you're getting the same tomato flavor, you're getting the same pasta texture, you know what I mean? You're getting the same aroma when you're eating. So it's exciting when you first start, but then you're like, man, I'm over this. Like, how cool would it be to like eat a really small bowl of spaghetti and then get into maybe some mussels. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like get into some like fried shrimp.
That's what I like about what you're doing with the tapas. And that's the same way, like I would love to go with the group, but my first date night when we moved home was me and my wife. We went out to your restaurant, and we basically had both picked about 2 or 3 different things that, like, okay, she was feeling that, I was feeling this, but I wanted to try that, but I wasn't going to make it one of my choices. And it's like you were describing, we ended up liking everything. She liked just the stuff that I ordered just as much as I liked the stuff that she ordered. Yep. And that variety was kind of what drew me to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's and everything's, like 3.5, 4 to like 5, 6 ounces. You know what I mean? So somebody comes in, gets a 12-ounce steak, a baked potato on the side. I mean, you're talking about, that's 16, 18 ounces of food. So you order, 2 to 3 tapas a person, you get the same quantity of food, but you're going to get different flavor.
You still leave full if that's your choice. Yeah. If you want to, and like you said, if you do get the small bowl of spaghetti or whatever, and you finish that and you decide you want more, order more.
Yeah, I tell people, order another round like you order another cocktail, Yeah. Right. Another round of martinis, we need another round, another shrimp and grit, we want a mussel, calamari, we want the beef skewer, whatever, Yeah. And, like I said, us being rather quickly about it, you don't have to wait a long time. It's not, but it's fun because the whole setting's kind of like a social setting, and you engage your friends, and and my team just services the table, kind of like you don't even really know they're there. They're just doing their thing, right? We're doing some like cured meat, some bent ham, some Iberico hams, like just fun, like our charcuterie board with a lot of pickled stuff, things that we've put up. The ramps we talked about, asparagus, pickled radish, pickled tomatoes, pickled anything.
Your dad's pretty sneaky about that stuff too, because there was a couple times where I was just like, "Oh, this is so good." And I turned to my wife, and the next thing I know, I look down and there's another plate, and I'm like, "Oh man," and I'd forget about whatever I was already on.
For ADD eaters,
right? Exactly.
Now, was that always the goal? Like from day one when you opened doors at Circa, was just like, "This is how we're going to do it," or did you have to ease into it at all?
Was that kind of your vision for it?
Yeah. So small plate was kind of the vision, and it's funny because when we first opened, I had like another menu, and I say that like I put out there what I want, and then really quickly like everybody told me what they wanted. Right. And as a business person, you got to kind of listen.
Yeah, you got to reach that medium. Yeah.
So so small plates was the idea, and we rotate our menu not quite as frequently as I would really enjoy because it's really big, but we pull a lot of stuff off and put a lot of new stuff back on, and
it's like you're talking with the stuff that's in season and when it's not in season too.
And I got tons of like legal pads just full of. It'd be a really good, cool picture. You know what I mean? You lay out like just all my thinking, like on paper, all the scribbles and scratch throughs and additions, and so we work on that a lot. But and I'm not Circa. We stay as fresh and as seasonal as possible when we can. You know what I mean? Again, you're running a business, and we're not exclusive like farm to table. We have people that come in year round that want certain things, and we gotta take care of what our
gotta try and cater to them.
So like we definitely like straddle that line. We get tons of fresh stuff in, and usually you'll see a lot of that in our features, and we have features like every day that we like are totally like creative, not on the menu, and some of them are like totally organic, like thought of features, and then some features are like made up of byproducts of the other features. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it worked from this one. Yeah.
We got a little bit of this left over, so we're gonna pair it with this.
Yeah. Do you find that keeps everybody fresh? Like just everybody trying new stuff? Yeah, not everything's gonna be a home run every single time, but I mean, it gets you the creative juices going.
Yeah, no, it does. And that is kind of our goal. I just tell people, like, our goal is just to put out good food, like flavorful food, and it doesn't always have to be fancy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, I'm getting ready. I got a case of chicken wings in today, and I'm gonna brine them in sweet tea, and I'm gonna smoke them, and we're gonna fry them, and put a little rub when they come out the fryer. And like, you don't need a sauce or nothing. Their things are like delicious.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean. But it's just like taking those extra steps. A lot of guys will just take a raw chicken wing and throw it in the fryer and sauce it, and that's it. Another guy might do the same thing, but add a little salt. So we're gonna brown our chicken. And
why didn't we eat lunch before we sat down and talked with Clarke?
It's just like how you think about food, and just like the different levels of complexity, I guess, you can do to add to, or you know what I mean. So like we enjoy cooking. We can take something simple as chicken wings and put our own spin on it. We've been pairing this week, fried green tomatoes and soft shell crab.
That sounds delicious.
You know what I mean? So it just it doesn't always have to be like fancy.
Yeah.
It could just be, and whatever you do it good. And if you're gonna be simple, you gotta make sure you're hitting stuff right on the head, man. Because you don't want to screw simple up. Yeah. But if you do simple right, it's really good.
I don't know who. It may have been like Anthony Bourdain or somebody like that, but there's some quote out there that's always kind of stuck with me. It's like, the fewer ingredients you use in a recipe, the better each of those ingredients should be.
Better be.
Yeah. Because if you use bad quality ingredients and you have 5 ingredients in a dish, it's going to be terrible. Yeah, you're going to know.
You will definitely know. So like. Yeah, we work hard at Circa to keep everything like fresh, rotated. We got a lot going on. If anybody that was on our team, they would be like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a big commitment. It's a lot of work, and I got a good support structure that is equally as crazy as me, and we make it happen. So
now, would you say that of the kind of the umbrella company that you have of all your businesses, would you say you are personally at Circa the most? Like, you're kind of the most hands-on there?
Yeah, Circa's the mama. The
mothership.
She's what started everything, and that's kind of what. Yeah, it requires a lot of attention. You know what I mean? And that's where I am 90% of
Brings up a good point though. With everything else going on, did you start out with the goal to have these other businesses, or like did that just kind of fall into place as other things started rolling?
So like growing up in my family's restaurant, you know what I mean? Like I've always been like a business-minded person. Like it's just.
It's me. In some people. I can get that from you for sure.
Like I remember, as a kid, being a little kid, my favorite board game was Monopoly. That was money and property. Right. When I graduated from culinary school, I was used to kind of the school structure. Mm-hmm. I immediately went and got my real estate license. You know what I mean? I needed something else. I like that structure, that learning, and so I was actually the last group of people that got a broker's license before the provisional brokers and all that kind of stuff. Right. And I had my license active for about 5 years, and I recently had just let it go. I was like, this is not what I'm doing. But anyway, it's just kind of funny because I just bought and rehabbed a house to flip. You know what I mean? So I got another buddy listing it for me. But, I'm at Circa the most. And so just being business-minded, and if you ever look at some of these bigger restaurant groups, they're diverse, Right. So you'll have a chef or a restaurant group owner. They'll have their flag, their fine dining flag that gets a lot of recognition.
Right.
And
then these little offshoot projects.
They're all offshoots, man. Because then it may or may not be profitable. It sounds crazy that they're doing these giant numbers and losing money. So they have a catering facility, or they'll have a hamburger shop, or they'll have you know what I mean? They really don't tell you about that too much because they're not as proud of that.
Yeah.
But that is where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All the little stuff funds the big stuff.
Funds the big stuff. And if you look at any big successful restaurant group, it's how it's set up. It's how it's set up.
Is that kind of the business model you had in mind when you did that? Or because you could easily, well, not necessarily easily, but you could find another way to do this stuff and just, the Twisted Spoon. You could have a little yogurt stand in the corner of, Circa, Circa or something
Well, so
you're not half-assing it though.
I just turned 28 when I started Circa. I was born in 81. That's a lot of people ask me. That's where the number comes from. So when I was 28, I was worried about getting the restaurant going and just making sure we had something real that was sustainable, and I wanted to make sure it was going to work. And I was prepared to work by myself if I had to keep the lights on.
Any means necessary.
You know what I mean? Fortunate enough for us, we never got to that position, But like I was like ready for it.
Yeah, and at that point you didn't know.
Yeah. So Circa, people started enjoying the food, great comments, great service, and so I don't want to say I was bored with Circa because that's not it. And there's always something to be done, something to be tweaked. But I just knew that with having like the business side of me, like I just knew I wanted to kind of grow into something else. And like we talked about earlier, my father's restaurant burned down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I guess you could say he had all his eggs in one basket, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just kind of knew that I wanted to diversify a little bit. And what do I know? Food. So, I mean, if you look at everything that I've done, it's been like an offshoot of food in some capacity.
Right.
So like when we opened up the Twisted Spoon, the yogurt was pretty hot. On the East Coast, it had been hot on the West Coast for probably 10 years prior. There was an outfit in Virginia called the Skinny Dip. We have family up in Virginia Beach area, and my aunt was just telling me about this business model and how it's just busy all the time and they just kill it, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I was up there on vacation and we went through there and it was really cool. And I was like, well, you know what I mean? Like, looking at, like, the pros and cons, the pros, there's not a lot of labor involved. You put a manager, some high school kids in there, to take money. Like, there's no, like, all I got to do is smile and keep the toppings bars stocked. I mean, that's about it. You know what I mean? It's not the restaurant where you're dealing with different personalities and all that.
Right.
So that's what kind of made it look nice to me, and that's kind of why we went that direction. So in 2012, we opened up the Twisted Spoon. So that was the second little venture that we had stepped out into. The Twisted Spoon, is a Twisted Spoon. It gets busy in the summer, it slows down in the winter.
Yeah, like everything else.
Like everything around here. Yeah. It's fun to go in there and see the kids that, enjoy it. My kids really love it, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We go in there and they act like they own the place. They're running all over the damn place and go, you know what I mean?
Sampling one of everything.
Yeah,
all at the same
Daddy,
time.
I want this, you know what I mean? Can't have that, buddy.
That's
But we enjoy the Twisted Spoon. It's a good family environment. If it would be kind of on the summer schedule all year round, it would be like really awesome.
Right.
So we kind of just know that it slows down in the winter and we got to cut back just like everybody else and all of that. But
still, I mean, that's a testament to what you're doing and what they've got going on at that specific place that you guys are able to be open year round. Because it'd be easy to just close the doors for a few months until it got busy again.
Yeah, there are plenty of places that do that.
But we keep our people working, so that's pretty cool. And then the offshoot of that, the next venture was the Beaufort Olive Oil Company.
Right.
And
I was curious about that because, that seems like something for somebody like in your position with Circa and things of that nature. Anybody else that owns a business would be generally interested in. But I mean, you've got 4. Is that right? Again, you just opened
4 locations.
I think it's Swansboro one or the Emerald Isle.
Both.
Well, one of them just opened.
Oh, Emerald Isle just opened.
All right, so it's not like it's just one thing that it was easy for you to keep those things nearby and on hand for you to have personally over at Circa. If you've got 4 locations, I got to imagine that a lot of people are picking up and you got to be selling some product.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And I just I wouldn't imagine, not being as naive as I am about everything, 4 locations of an olive oil company.
So we got started with that back. It was around the same time as we opened up the Twisted Spoon because I was going back and forth of what I wanted to do first.
Right.
And about a year before we opened the Twisted Spoon, so the way that I opened the Twisted Spoon, I started acquiring equipment before I have found a space, knowing that was my intentions. So I wouldn't have to foot the bill all at once.
Right.
Makes sense.
Kind of spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, so I started buying the yogurt machines. And I had them in a storage unit and just started acquiring all this equipment as I found it on Craigslist or what have you, eBay So I had a storage unit full of equipment, and I got to the point where I was like, all right, so we looked for a storefront, we found the Harris Teeter, and then we built it out. So I wouldn't have to take that hit at one time.
Right.
So that was kind of why the Spoon went before the oil shop. But my father-in-law, my wife's father, he retired. He sold his company and retired. He was retired for about a year, and he had always worked for himself, had his own business, and he got he got a new puppy. He was just trying to figure out what the hell he wanted to do. And, he was bored out of his mind. Right. So he had an acquaintance that he knew. He's from Iowa, and then he was living up in Minnesota, somewhere up there.
Right.
And he knew somebody up in North Dakota or South Dakota, somewhere, that had an olive oil store. And I guess they got talking, and
Sounds like he's got a little bit of the same blood you've got.
Yeah, so
can't
you know what
stop.
I mean? Yeah, exactly. So then, like, and he wanted to retire down in Florida. He's down in Venice, just south of Tampa, and they went down there. Anyway, long story short, he ended up opening a Venice Olive Oil Company down there.
Oh, wow.
You know, just talking to his acquaintance, you know, the business model and just getting the contacts for the distribution and all that. And so he had that up and going. And then he opened up another store in Sarasota. They opened up one in Colorado Springs. And then now he has a fourth one down there as well. But he had the business going for about 1.5 years. And he was just like, we were just talking, you know, pretty candidly about just everything, you know,
right.
And numbers and everything. I was like, damn, like, you know what I mean? He's like, you should really think about opening one in Beaufort. And there wasn't one around here at the time. There was one in Wilmington. So my wife's sister lives down in Carolina Beach, and she worked for herself doing like a stroller strides franchise kind of stuff. And he was like telling Jody, like, you need to look into this, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they looked into it, and there was one already there.
Right.
And our distributor won't give you like a territory.
All right.
There's not like a territory for them, but she won't sell to anybody else within a competitive distance. Mm-hmm. So like, she kind of gives you a territory, but not really.
Give somebody a fair shot. I mean,
exactly.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So there was already one down in Wilmington, so that was kind of like already seized up. And then him and I were talking. He's like, "You need to put one in Beaufort," and I was like, "Yeah, maybe." And like we were just looking at the numbers, and we were just kind of like I was comparing Beaufort to like where he lived to kind of see like a feasibility study almost.
Right.
Nothing too involved, but will this work? What do people think? And it was cool because he was sending me. Like he was sending me oil and vinegar, like the products, to the restaurant, and we were using them, and then we were giving him like recipes back.
Right.
So like, and it was kind of eye-opening
like a
to me.
System going.
Yeah, you know. So he would like we get like a shipment of like these oil and vinegars, and like we would get them because then he could sell them. He could use that information to sell them to the customers. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Clarke, you know, my son-in-law, he's a chef. He's using them in blah blah blah. So that's kind of how it got started. So we went down to Venice, you know, on vacation, and was like looking at the stores, but it was really a neat setup. So I came back and, you know, I talked to the distributor. Beaufort was open. I had found a spot, which I was pretty pumped about because a lot of locations in downtown Beaufort do not come available that often.
No,
and when
they're
they
legacy places.
Yeah, and when you do, you got to be ready to jump on it. You know what I mean? Like, so like the same way I kind of found Circa, just driving around aimlessly just all the time. I still do it. You know what I mean? I saw a for rent sign in the window, called. You know what I mean? And
chain yourself to the door.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey man, like this, like it's for rent. Like this isn't an option. Like this is mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the space was like just tattered. It was a ladies' gift shop. It was. She had a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'll use the word stuff and not junk. But, a lot of stuff, and it was just like random. Like the store needed help, needed some love, and. But, you know, you just got to be able to kind of see through all that, and it was just a great spot right there. You know, and some would say, well, you're on the other end of the road because we're down towards the Spouter end and Stillwater. We're not down by, you know, Island Traders and all that. Anyway, I really didn't care. The rent was reasonable. Like, everything was reasonable. It was way more reasonable than I even thought. And I was like, man, they're going to be asking a killing. But it just worked out. So then we got our first store open, like, March of 13. Man, and actually, the story is like, so Natalie, this girl, she's my manager there. Right. She runs all 4 stores now, but she was a waitress at Circa. We hired her as a waitress. She moved here from Cincinnati, and she's like really into food. And you know, we would always have pretty in-depth like food conversations, like almost on the level of like a cook or chef. Like she was pretty knowledgeable. You know, she was like a science major and she enjoys farming and food and just fresh stuff. So we kind of had that.
It's the whole formula of cooking.
Yeah,
it's like there is a science.
So like we were just, I remember very vividly, we were standing at the bar one day and I was just like, we were just talking about it because, you know, like I'm pretty open, like, you know, people knew what, you know, I was opening it, my employees and all.
Right.
And I do all my own build outs, me and like my family and my brother and stuff. So like when I build something, I'm not at the restaurant as much, you know. So it's like, where's Clarke? Well, he's building an olive oil store. Anyway, so like it just came up and we were just standing there and I was like, man, I need to start looking for a manager for the store. Like, you know, obviously I can't be everywhere. And she's like, no, you don't. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, she's like, I want to do it. And I was like,
She pulled a Clarke.
Yeah.
She just said, it's mine.
Yeah. She's like, you know, I was like, have you ever managed a store before? Like, do you have any management experience? She's like, no. And I was like,
all right.
And I was like, maybe. I was just like, maybe. I was like, I kind of chalked it up to like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't.
If I can't find anybody else, I'll keep her in the background.
And I didn't really know her like that well. You know, she hadn't only been with us we hired her in like August, so she was like through the fall and like talking about it maybe like January-ish. You know, and you know, she was a server. She did a great job for us, and I didn't really like know her like on like you know a management level.
Could say a great service still doesn't mean that you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. That you can run a business.
The keys,
you know what I mean? So like, and I remember because like that went on for like 3 or 4 weeks, and you know she kept like bugging me like, "What are you gonna do? Like, you find a manager? Like, I want the job." And I'm like, man. And I'm kind of the type of guy like, you know, like give somebody a shot. If they don't work, kind of figure it out. It's not really the best strategy. My wife I make my wife do all my hiring, really, because she can like call the bull before. Like I'm just like.
So if it goes wrong, you got the finger to point.
Well, my thing is like, I got a position open. You need a job. Let's do this. Like, I don't like, you know what I mean. Whatever, you ride a scooter, smoke crack, and don't ever show up. Like I don't see through all that too well. You know what I mean? I'm a little more like forgiving, kind-hearted. Anyway, so like, you know, we. Long story short, she is now working.
She must be doing well. There are 4 locations.
She's doing good, man. She's like she's grown into a really good manager. She's good, you know, with like just like managing people, like her staff. The stores.
It sounds like she's got the knowledge, the ability.
She does. You know what I mean? And it's cool because like when I went out, like when I signed up for the first store, I actually had to go out to San Francisco to meet the distributor before she would sell to me. Oh, so I like came back and like I like briefed Natalie like on all this information. But it's funny, before I actually officially told her she had the job, like we were getting to the end of like the build out phase, and I remember her like being at the store, like me and my brother made a giant mess, man. She was like on her knees in the cabinets, dusting and cleaning and sweeping and like just like on her own time, and
she's going the extra mile to try and make sure that you know she wants it.
I have like conversations after. She's like telling me how she's doing it. It's like she's thinking about like, he better give me this damn job. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny.
Meanwhile, you've got friends that she doesn't know coming in pretending to interview for it, right? Making her sweat.
Right. But no, she's done a good job for us. You know what I mean? She works hard. I got a good team, man. You know, I got one of my best friends, Robert McGinnis. He runs the Twisted Spoon for me. You know, he was working. He went to school at Virginia Tech, and he moved down to take over. You know, that story is kind of funny too, because I was talking to him about it. So I'll back up even a little bit further. Like him and I managed a restaurant together in Raleigh. Okay. And so we like had that connection, and then he went on to teach high school, and I moved back to my dad's restaurant. Right. You know, to help. We would, you know, kept in touch, and he would come down and like hang out at the beach with us and all that. He actually would come down and work at my dad's restaurant. He was teaching school, so he was a school teacher during the year.
It's
and in summertime, you know, he was like just out of college, 23, 24 or whatever, maybe 25, I don't even know, 23, 24, and he was coming down waiting tables in the summer. He was like 23 teaching like algebra 2 or 3 or 10 or whatever. Right. So like these kids that were like 18, I just thought it was funny because he was so young doing it. But he would come down, work for the summer, he'd go back, and I told him I was opening up Circa, and he was like, what? Like he came down and like for the grand opening, and he was pretty like blown away by it, which was cool. Anyway, then he left his teaching and went to, he moved back to Blacksburg, and he was working at Virginia Tech, and he was he wanted to work on, he was trying to get into the accounting program or get his MBA. Right. But I think at the time, Tech, like if you worked for them, they would give you like some free class out, like credit hours or whatever for being an employee.
Right.
So
like an employee discount.
Yeah. So he was doing all that. He was up there for like a year and a half, maybe. I remember calling him. I was like, "Hey man, I need a wingman." That's what I said. I need a wingman. Like I want to open this yogurt shop, and he's like, "Well, you know, we work it out. Like, you know, come down." A couple weeks later, you know, he gave a notice, and we got everything worked out, and he moved to the beach. So he's the one that's been running the yogurt shop, which he's a lot smarter than that. It hasn't been like really challenging for him. He's done a good job over there. He's like super calculated. He's got he's got list for list. He's got you can ask him how far product will go, and he'll tell you $1.
That goes back to like the teaching mentality.
Man, I'm like the free spirit, like crazy ass, like get it done, going. I say it's like a little wardrobe change where you envision a girl just throwing clothes over her shoulder and someone behind and catching everything. Like I'm plowing ahead like with the ideas and like the crazy to get it done, and then like I got my team behind me. It's like all right,
catching everything.
You know what I mean? Like making what my idea work.
It's like you're throwing up the pieces, and you're catching them in kind of a.
And they do a great job at it, you know. And actually, Robert now has stepped in and taken over the majority role of the Dank Burrito. You know, that thing was my idea, but he's really pulling all the strings, making sure everything works. You know, so I guess my key people in my little group is, you know, I got myself, and then, you know, I got Robert that takes care of the Twisted Spoon and the truck, and then Natalie, she takes care of the 4 stores. You know, like I said, we just go into the 4th one, and then I have my awesome wife who, man, like, so she works full time for a software company. A lot of people don't know that. You know, I got so many businesses that think she just stay-at-home mom or whatever.
Or it just helps with those businesses.
Yeah, no. You know, she works full-time for a software company out of Raleigh, and she's got a really good job, and she's able to work remote, and there's just a lot of reasons why I won't let her quit. One of them is, you know, she's got a decent salary, so I know that if all my junk hits the fan, we're not going to be eating canned tuna. You know what I mean? I will still be able to pay our bills, and that's kind of my security blanket. Honestly, I don't. Really,
sometimes with like the artist mentality that I kind of get the vibe from you with, like that you need that little bit of a net.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice. You know, imagine like, because now that we have multiple businesses, you know, now I'm a father of 2 and a husband. And, you know, it's just nice. You know what I mean? Like, she's got a good job, but she works really hard. So she takes care of home. She's mama. Like, you know, I've never ever cook at home ever. Like, I just doesn't. She cooks at home, and it's not because I don't want to, but we just don't have what we need. You know, my saute pans are at the restaurant. You know what I mean? And so she takes care of home. You know, she's a mama. I'm the 3rd child. You know, the biggest kid. Really, you can ask anybody. You know, and she handles all of my business stuff on the back end. So typically, like if you're emailing me, you're really emailing her. She signs my name. She makes me look really good. She's really, really smart. She went to college up in DC at GW. She's like super awesome, super smart girl.
Like the perfect yin to your yang.
Man, it's crazy. But she handles like all the emails, all the catering inquiries. She set up like all of my trademarks for like the businesses. Right. You know what I mean? Like successfully like on her own.
Stuff a lot of people don't even think about.
Yeah, exactly.
Filing all the paperwork.
Filing all the paperwork that attorneys do. She's like reads through it and figures it out. Like she's built all my websites. You know, she does a ton on the back end. She runs all the major holidays, Easter and Memorial Day and Mother's Day, all my like reservations. You know, she still handles all of like my servers and their scheduling. I take care of the cooks. So like, she does a lot. Before the kids, she was at the restaurant a lot. She enjoyed it. You know, she'd be up there working the front. You know, and in the summertime, she'll still come in. You know, a few days a week and just kind of make sure things are as such. Because she's like super detail oriented, and I'm not as much.
You see the big picture. You plow to get to that big picture.
So like, and then I got Josh, who, man, he's my like. I'm left-handed. He's definitely my right hand man. Like nice. He's probably. I'll say it. He's probably the best cook in town, man. He's awesome. You know, he knows his junk. He is super passionate, smart. He sees beyond what's in front of him. Like he's a thinker. Like he does a great job for me, and I'm super stoked to have him. He really gives me the ability also to do what I do. Right. You know what I mean? And,
now, is Josh predominantly at Circa? Does he have all the food truck?
Josh is at Circa. Yeah.
So basically, if you guys aren't both there, if you're not there, then that's probably who
Josh
you're going to be cooking for.
You know, and then I got another guy that I just hired who's there kind of intermittently, but we don't. You know what I mean? There's going to be one of us there usually at some point. You know, so Robert takes care of the truck and the shop. Now he takes care of
the stores.
You know, and then me and Josh, you know, take care of Circa, and then, you know, I kind of overlook everything. You know, and you know, I'll tell you, Robert and Natalie, they really make it easy for me. You know what I mean? Right. It's nice. You know what I mean? Like Robert, you know, he was at my wedding. He was one of my best friends. Like you know what I mean? I trust him with everything I got. You know what I mean? And he has access to everything that I have access to. So, you know what I mean? He could easily abuse it. You know what I mean? But I don't really ever worry about that.
This is a lot for both of you that you're willing to put that kind of trust in somebody with so much, but he's not willing to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a good-hearted guy. He works hard. He works a lot. You know, but we're really trying to grow a business. You know what I mean? You know, like I said, Natalie, she does a great job. She's really, I can't even like tell you how far she's come because I really didn't know what she was made of. And I mean, she's worked long hours. She's stepped up. She's like in a lot of ways, like my wife, as far as her organization, and she's like a Excel queen. Like I've never seen anybody work Excel like her. She's got numbers for numbers for numbers, and I'm a numbers guy. I hate the organization, but when I call for something, I like to be able to see it so I can make decisions.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she can get me anything I need. Like, you know what I mean? I can text her right now. I need to know what we did, last, Memorial Day from 2 to 4. How much money do we do? And within 5 minutes, I'll have that answer.
You'll have an exact dollar amount.
Exact dollar amount. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, running all the percentages, and having 4 stores, is just like, because we're ordering in bulk, it's getting shipped to one of our locations, and she's got to make sure it's getting out to the stores. And so we're an olive oil and vinegar store, but we carry a lot of other stuff as well.
And it's not like the locations are all super close. Like generally speaking, it's relative to this area, but like Emerald Isle to Beaufort isn't like a
Carteret County is a
drive.
long county.
It's a big county. It is a big county, and she does a great job managing all of that. And we'll get a case of something in. And my thing is like I'd rather have my money in my bank account than sitting in a bunch of products.
Right.
So we try to make sure that we inventory what we need and not a just giant surplus.
Yeah.
So that's part of her responsibility. So we'll get a case of something in, and she's got to split it up 4 ways, especially in the off season. You know what I mean? We want to make sure all the stores look the same and have the same feel.
Right.
But I don't need like 100 of something. You know what I mean? Sitting on the shelf.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of like her job is splitting that up, and it's pretty cool. Just watching what she has done, and like her and Robert, they're both self-starters. I don't have to like ride their ass for nothing. Like if I have something that I want to say or do, I voice it and I'll tell them, and they kind of know what my expectation is to a point. But I don't have to micromanage them at all,
right?
Which is really nice.
You can give them the general perspective.
I've actually had to like tell both of them, like, look, go like to the beach today, like, quit, because you're gonna work so much and get so burned out, then like you're gonna be tired. You know what I mean? Like, they just want to keep going, and it's like it's cool, like stop, let's go grab lunch, let's go get dinner, like
Which that's definitely a good problem to have, having employees that want to work too much.
I mean, so like just per my expectations and what I need done that I had set through Natalie, like she took that and like turned it into like a 15-page like employee handbook. You know what I mean? Of like expectations. Like she did that on like her own, and like that's what we send out to our employees. You know what I mean? So like she's really kind of like generated and like she's done a lot for the oil shops. And I'm the kind of guy that like I don't need that stuff to operate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oil in, oil out equals money. Like I figure that out. You know what I mean? But she gets down to like
the initiative to actually just go ahead and do it though and get it over. I mean, that's you don't
crazy.
have that
like
with
Robert
every
too,
employee.
man. Like he'll say, like he just knows that like when we'll get in like 80 pounds of meat and we'll clean it and we'll bag it up, and he'll know like to the $10 like how much money we'll make off of this meat. It's like crazy. Or like when he's going out for that day, because we try to just bring on the truck what we need. We leave the rest at Circa because we don't have a ton of extra room on the truck. But like so we bag everything up in about 5 to 6 pound bags. So he'll know if he's going to feed 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, I need 3 bags of beef, 2 bags of pork, you know what I mean, and 3 bags of chicken. Like he's like done it so much, like he's gotten it down to that science, and he's good like that. He likes to have that stuff figured. And me, I'm like, let's go. Like, we'll bring back what we don't have left.
That makes me wonder too. How much are you on the truck? Like, did you just turn them loose, or do you ever like?
I'm not on the truck as much as people think, man. Like Robert really has grabbed the truck and taken it over. I'm on the truck when he needs me. I'm on the truck for like special events.
Are there times where you're just like, I gotta get, like, you guys just came back from the rodeo like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, so May 3rd was the Raleigh Rodeo. I didn't make that trip. You know what I mean? I had just gotten back the night before from a red eye from San Diego. We took the kids out there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
last thing you want to do is get back in the car and then go.
Yeah, well, I would do it. What happened was that, so with me being gone, it made Josh work a little more than he had to. Mm-hmm. I'll typically take like Sunday mornings off to hang out with my family because my wife works full time.
All right.
So that's kind of like a family day. I gave Josh off Sunday and I worked his Sunday because he had covered for me all week because I was gone.
Right.
So that I was at the restaurant cooking that morning and they were in Raleigh. But I'm on the truck when I want to be. You know what I mean? I enjoy it. It's fun to go out there and like
just to change the surroundings.
Yeah. It's funny, man. The truck is really a unique, awesome.
Now that's kind of new for like a lot of people that might be listening around here. And I just read recently this is the first year they're going to allow food trucks on the Circle.
Yep.
The beach.
Yeah. They gave us some crap about it last year. We kind of worked through it a little bit. We went out and parked at AB Surf Shop and. The town didn't really like that. We got a little backlash, but we finished out the day and, End
of the day, people got to get the burritos somehow.
Yeah, man.
So you're going to give it to them.
But, yeah, I mean, the burrito truck's been cool.
This episode of Lookout Cookout is brought to you in part by Above It All Studios, covering all of your video recording and photography needs, offering studio portraits, on-location shooting, HD aerial video, and much more. Book them for your next family reunion when everybody's together. Schedule an engagement photo shoot to capture that special moment forever. Visit aboveitallstudios.com for more detail.
Justin Wilson is his name. Justin Wilson is the name of the Cajun chef that we were talking about earlier.
That was so worth the wait.
We looked it up. Yeah, everyone else waited like an hour through to go through the interview. Not that it was a trudge to get through the interview.
They paused the interview as soon as we couldn't remember and Googled it.
And emailed us.
And all they had to do was wait until the end.
It's Justin Wilson. He died in 2001. Rest in peace. I have his Wikipedia page pulled up on my monitor over there. But anyway, welcome back, guys. I hope everyone has enjoyed part one of our interview with Mr. Clarke Merrell. Just super interesting guy, very motivated, and just has a lot of cool ideas. And I think he mentions in part two some kind of upcoming future plans that he has of additional businesses and expansions and things like that.
It's hard to imagine where do you go with the broadness of all his
ventures.
Trying to think of some artistic way to put it, but let's just keep it simple.
Yeah, but like we said, super interesting guy. I hope everybody listening felt the same way. Enough to stick through to part two next week. But I really think this is an important, and we talked about it before, the kind of the core purpose of this podcast is to celebrate the history and heritage of the people and places of the Cape Lookout area of North Carolina. But really more so kind of it's a public service of, we're bringing these kind of pioneers of the area to the forefront and making sure everybody knows about them. Not that I think he needed us to do any favors for him.
We're the key to his success in all of his business ventures.
Yeah, I mean he's doing okay by himself, but with our help, he can go to the top.
In all seriousness, I completely understand what you're saying. It's nice to learn a little bit of the backstory and just kind of what makes certain individuals tick, especially when it comes to our area. Of course, we're going to interview people relative to our area.
Right.
But it's nice to find out, exactly what makes everybody different, makes them unique. But at the same time, I still have the same common, factor being they're either located or experienced this or grew up or whatever the case may be in this area.
That's right.
So I definitely understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, and and also it's really interesting to me, him particularly, because he's a younger guy. I think 1981, so he'd only be 34 years old, 33, 34.
He's our age.
Yeah.
I'll lump you in with me.
Yeah. But so he's a younger guy, and I think it's difficult in smaller areas like this to start new businesses. If you don't have a family business that's been around for 50 or 100 years, I think it's difficult to kind of get get on the ground.
It's much easier to take on something somebody's already established versus starting from the ground up essentially and putting your own spin on something.
And so I really think that part of it is just as interesting. The fact that he is a younger guy, he's starting something completely new, and not only starting something completely new as far as a new business, but starting a new business model that is not something that's around here before, like a food truck. I mean, there were attempts at food trucks in this area, but he's really the guy that has kind of legitimized the food truck in the kind of Carteret County, Crystal Coast area, which is that's a big thing.
And doing it in such a unique way too. It says a lot about him as an individual as well as just a business minded gentleman.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating. You guys have seen within this episode, and I'm sure you'll learn some more in the next round. So we don't want to give too much away, and we don't want to ruin anything for anybody in the future. As always, we appreciate you guys listening and tuning in on this one.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll link them on the website for this episode, but I just want to go ahead and plug his various websites. The main one for Circa 81 is circa-81.com. For Dank Burrito, they don't have a main site.
.com website. They mainly, because they're on the move and they're mobile, just like their business model is, they tend to be on social media.
Right.
Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah.
I think they're on Instagram. I believe they're on all three of those.
Yeah.
Maybe another one I'm forgetting.
If you just Google Dank Burrito, they're going to be the top result for pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. But I believe their Twitter account is they're at Dank Burrito NC, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just Google Dank Burrito and you can find
If not the Circa 81 website, I know for a fact there's a link on there as well. It'll take you right to it, and it'll tell you their ever-changing schedule from week to week.
Yeah, that's right. And then also for for the olive oil, Beaufort Olive Oil Company, that is BeaufortOliveOil.com. And then for Twisted Spoon, that is TwistedSpoonYogurt.com. And like I said, it's a lot to keep track of because he's got a lot going on. But we will have links to all this on the site for this episode. But I hope everybody has enjoyed it thus far. I really hope everybody kind of comes back for part 2 because, as interesting as everything we talk about in this episode is, everything else is just as interesting, if not more so.
Never had a lack for discussion topics or trying to pick his brain about these things.
Absolutely. And while we're at it, thanking people, we want to go ahead and thank our sponsors because without them, literally it would just be us in a room.
Talking in a room.
With no microphones, no network to put it out on. So
never thought about how unawkward this fact that we have microphones and a few listeners makes an otherwise very weird situation.
Not even that, but because, it's okay to just sit across the table from each other. We're standing across the table from each other just because that's how we prefer to do things. But big thanks to our sponsors, Above It All Studios, Lookout Adventures, Zion Consulting, and Island Traders. We'll have links to all their sites on the episode, and actually everywhere on our site we have links to all those guys. But
definitely go check them out if you don't know familiar with them. Check them out. Try and do business as much as you can. Some of them are easier, others for everybody, depending on which one you're checking out,
what your needs are.
Just go, at the very least, go on their websites and their respective social medias and just like and spread the word, because with all of our guests and everything that we kind of stand behind with the Lookout Cookout, as far as the podcast, it's all about supporting your local area and your community.
We feel the exact same way about our sponsors as we do about our guests. They are important to the local community.
They're important cogs in this Lookout Cookout wheel.
Exactly. Sure. So definitely please go check out and support them. Guys, thank you very much for sticking with us through this episode, and we will hopefully catch y'all next week for part 2 with Mr. Clarke Merrell. Thanks, guys. Sir.